fairly Hey everybody, I'm here. I don't know if you are yet, but I'm early. I'm cold. I have a sweatshirt on. I've gotten rid of just about all of my winter clothes since I moved to Florida, and I'm freezing my butt off. My hands are cold. I can't keep my hands warm in this cold weather. I'm freezing. So let's hope I don't have any mistakes because I'm shivering trying to cut my fabric. Hey, Miss Mary, how are you? Are you liking this cold weather? I'm not. I'm freezing. I'm thinking that we may get all of the fabric, rest of the fabric cut today. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm crossing my fingers so we can actually start stacking our papers and piecing our units next week. At least that's what I'm hoping. Oh, I forgot something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I forgot something. I always forget something while we wait. Hey, Susan, how are you? Oh, you've already cut all your strips? Good. Check it out. Here is my beginner's quilt. I think it looks so much better in person than on pictures. That's the only thing I hate about computers. It's very hard to tell how things look on pictures. I'm been trying to record this video if I stop with my getting tongue-tied. I'm like very, very tongue-tied. Yesterday, Miss Mary, I was outside taking Chris to appointments and take care of dogs, and I froze, and it was windy. It was really, really windy. I froze my butt off. I actually came home from his doctor's appointment and took a hot shower to warm up. I'm not liking this cold weather. This is not what I signed up for. Not even a little bit. I know, it's so pretty. I love that teal. All right, first things first. Did you guys see the second notions slash, oh good, Mary, I'm glad. Notions slash supply list that we are gonna need, which I didn't finish. We need a glue pen. I would specifically go with the one that I posted with the Facebook link, and I can post it again if you want, because this is what they recommend. It's a washable glue pen. We're sewing a lot of curves, in this quilt. So the glue pen helps keep everything together for sewing curves. The add a quarter ruler is not absolutely necessary. If you have one, great. If you don't, I wouldn't freak out and go buy one, because I can show you how to do it with just a cardboard bookmark, which is what I use most of the time. Uh-oh, Miss Nola's awake. Go lay down. Nola, go lay down. So I got my glue pens yesterday. These are the refills. I got a lot of refills. I have a feeling we're going to need them. Okay. so glue pens are not absolutely, I mean, the out of quarter ruler is not absolutely necessary. Another thing that you're going to want to pick up that I didn't put on there because I figure everybody has them are colored Sharpie, at least one colored Sharpie marker, thin. Okay, and I go over this next week with why we need it. If you color, let me see if I can show you real quick. I have a lot of notes this week just to keep me from going crazy. Okay. When we're doing our units, you have dash lines. Okay, for the lines that you're actually going to sew on. If you draw on the front with the Sharpie marker in color, okay, what it does is, because we're paper piecing, so we put fabric on the back and sew through on the line on the front. So by marking them, the marker marks come through, bleed through on the back, and it's not going to interfere with your fabric or anything. Can you see that? I hope you can. I don't know if you can, but trust me, it's not going to bleed through so much that it's going to interfere with anything. What it does is it just helps you know where to place your fabric on the back of the paper. Okay. How many of you have done paper piecing at all? Just curious. Paper piecing, you have to think backwards. So the tips that I'm giving you are going to help you in the long run, trust me. Okay. Oh, I'm so cold, it's not funny. I am really, really, really cold. Okay, we are going to start with 20 years ago in class. Well, it's even different now, Susan. This is a lot different. There's a lot of prep work here, but it's definitely different than I did. A lot of foundation paper piecing, which is really easy. Don't worry, we're going to walk you through it step by step, Susan, and you'll be fine. And Mary, I have no doubt that you're going to get this. Trust me. Okay. All right. If you have your pattern, let's get started. Okay. We are on page 10. And we are going to work with, let's see, which one are we starting? We are starting on page 10, B2, fabric B2, unit B1, template layout sheets. Okay. Here in mine, it is rainbow. So just because here's one of the things that I think confuses people a lot is that the pattern, oops, here we go, says background, B1 background, okay? But it's not necessarily the background. So if they say accent, if more than likely, it's mostly the accent pieces, if that makes sense. Meaning, hold on. I know it's confusing people. Okay. In this B1 unit, sections, the even sections 2 through 22 are my background fabric. The odd, or no, yeah, the even here are my accents. And the odd are my background. I think that's right. Yes. So the odd fabric is actually my background, but my even ones are actually the accent. I hope that makes sense. I know it's not going to make sense most of the time, but just follow along and you'll get it. Honest to God, you will. Especially once we start physically doing it. I think it'll make a lot more sense. So right now, And this is a little bit different than what you guys are doing. If you're doing a non-ombre rainbow quilt, you won't have to do what I'm doing, because I'm doing the rainbow ombre quilt. So I decided to be a dingling and I have to do a lot more work. Okay. All right, now I'm just going to layer my pieces. For you, you are going to stack, you only have three 5.5 inch strips, and you're going to cut 8 pieces. That's it. I have 8 strips that I'm going to cut one of each out of. The fabric, you're lost. Okay, we're on page 10, Mary, and we're using fabric B2, unit B1. So here's unit B1, back, it says background template layout sheet, but we're using fabric B2. Let me know if you're getting back on track, okay? Another thing to remember is that all of these templates are actually bigger than we need. So unless you drastically cut them way off, you're going to be fine. All paper piecing, most paper piecing, you're using larger fabrics. We're on page 10 at fabric in the center, fabric on the right, B2, unit B1. Does that help, Mary? I'm only going to use half of my strip. You're going to use the whole strip, but I'm going to use half the strip. No, we're going to come back to bag 5. Okay. Don't worry. We're not going to miss anything. Okay. So you would take this, put it on just like we have cut off your salvage edge, cut this off, then grab the paper and all your fabric and turn it and do your cuts, just like we have been doing. Because I am doing a rainbow quilt, ombre quilt specifically, I am cutting it differently than you are, unless you're going to do one too. What that means is I have light to dark. So I am actually going to cut my template apart and place them on my fabric and reconstruct the template. I know this isn't going to make sense to you yet, and it's definitely harder than what you're doing. You're going to just cut your fabric like we have been cutting. So for now, I am going to cut half of my fabric off. Okay, You do not have to do this. I am doing this because I'm doing an ombre quilt. Okay. We're going to lay these in. Hold on. Let me read some of my notes. Okay. I'm going to cut these apart on the cut line. Let's see. I'm going to use this one. But you're not. God, I hope we get through all these sections today so that we can actually start sewing next week. Because I really want to. I probably shouldn't have done an ombre so that I could do it exactly the way you're doing it. But unfortunately, I'm not that smart and I'm an overachiever. I really like the ombre rainbow one. So I figure if I'm going to put this much work into it, then I want it to be what I want. I don't like this rotary cutter. I don't know if it's because I'm cold or what. Directions say cut 3 strips. Paper says 5 strips. Well, okay. You're going to have 3 strips, all right, of fabric. So that's all right. Let me explain this for you so that you get it. I know what I'll do to make sure it's easier for you to understand. Let me see. Okay. Let's just pretend. Actually, I'll make it easier with real fabric. Give me a second. Hoping after this initial craziness of this first one, the rest of them will cut much easier. All right, you have 3 strips, right? So you're going to cut one of the 3 strips. Then you're going to turn your paper and your fabric and cut a second one of the 3 strips. We only need 8 cuts. So you have 3 and 3 is 6. You still have 3 more over here. So what you're going to do is on your 3rd set of cuts, you're going to take 1 layer off and only cut through 2 layers. So you have 3, 3, and 2 are 8. Does that make sense? Again, you got your 3 layers, 3 strips. So you're going to cut 1 paper section, turn it with the fabric, cut your other paper section, right? So you have 2, 3 layers, which is 6. And then you're going to take 1 layer off the 3rd part and cut, when you turn it and put it down on your fabric, cut one more set of 2. So you have 8 strips, 8 cuts. Does that make sense? Because we're going to do that again here a few times. So they gave you 3 strips, but you'll only need 8 layers. So out of a full length of fabric, you can cut 3 sections. So out of the 3rd section, you're only going to cut 2 layers. You're going to get rid of one of the layers. Does that make sense, Susan? I'm hoping it gets a little bit easier the more we do this. Susan, does that make sense? Mary, are you with me? I can't go ahead until you guys tell me you get it. Oh, good. I'm glad. Susan, let me know if you if my explanation made it easy for you or you understand it now, Susan. Okay. These are all our B1 template. I know it makes a little bit of crazy. There are some sections, and I'll remind you when we get there, that they give you a lot more papers than you actually need, and we won't be using them. So back to our B1, because I'm doing a rainbow, I cut all the template pieces apart. You are not going to do what I just did. Okay, let me repeat. Do not do what I just did. These are all the same size except for section 22, which doesn't mean a big deal to you, but to me, it just means that I have to make sure I cut these right so that they all fall in the right place. So, for me, because of how I'm doing my ombre, I'm going to put them back together by number sections. So we've got 6, section 12, 18. Mine, I'm cutting my section 2 as my lightest. 2 is 4. And again, the even ones are my rainbow fabric. Is 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 22. Okay. So what I'm going to do now that I cut them apart. Now I got to put them back together. And I'm just going to put a little piece of tape. Not double-sided tape, but I'm going to use regular Scotch tape. Oh, wait a minute. Do this one. No. That's the double-sided. Here's my regular Scotch tape. Yeah, but remember what I said, Susan? Just because it says background doesn't necessarily mean it's your background fabric. So make sure you follow what I'm telling you as far as which fabric you're using when. Because my accent can be my background fabric too. I know it sounds confusing. Just follow the video one step at a time. The only reason I'm cutting these apart is so that they all have the right shading as far as light, medium, and dark on this ombre. Okay, so I know I want my 22, section 22 to be dark, my darkest. And I want my section 2 and section 4 to be my lightest. So the rest of these, I'm just going to spread them out evenly. Now you could use double-sided tape on yours because it's going to be bigger, but since I cut mine all apart, I'm not going to do that. Your cut line is over here, the first cut line. Where is my ruler? So I'm just going to move down here, making sure I stay where I need to be. The good thing is, even if you're off a little bit on the fabric cutting, it's not a big deal because these are bigger than we need. So then we are going to clip these. And we're going to go into bag 4. It's my scrap. Whoops. Leave it to me to take the most difficult options. I want to sew, so I'm really hoping that we get through these today so that we can sew. And the good thing with having all of these extra fabrics is if I mess up and I need the shades to be a little darker or a little bit lighter, I still have all that extra fabric that I can recut or just change the papers because all of these papers are the same size except for section 22. I don't like cutting like this. Oh, no wonder I'm having trouble cut with the wrong cutter. Ay, ay, ay. See what happens when I get cold? The brain don't want to work. Nothing wants to work when I'm cold. Oh, much better, I think. Almost done. They put all right. This felt painful. Did it feel painful to you guys? I hope not. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to do here. And I think, not hope, but I think as we go through more of these fabrics and cutting, it's going to get a little bit more easier and a little bit more easier, for, more understanding, I should say. The key is these fabrics are bigger than you need when we start piecing. And if you just follow what I tell you one step at a time, we're going to be good. There we go. That's all going in bag 4. Let me get my bag 4. Bag 4. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. Okay. Now, which one are we doing? Now we're going to go to fabric 3, B3, unit B1. And this says accent. But for me, it's actually my background fabric. This is what I was trying to explain to you before, Susan. So we have unit B1 accent and fabric B3, which is my background. I know it's very confusing, but I'm confident that you guys will get it. All right, so on this one, we've got 4 5-inch strips, right side up, and we need to cut 8 pieces. This is back to some of the more normal that we've done already. If you have too many folds in your fabric and you want to iron it, I'm not ironing mine. But if you do, iron it on the back side of the paper. Okay, just to make sure that the ink and print does not rub off on your fab on your iron. Oh, speaking of which, the petals. Petals, petals, petals. Okay, these petal pieces that we did last week, make sure you do not iron anything with the double-sided tape still on. Okay, because this will mess up, even if you iron on this side, it will mess up everything. It'll mess up your fabric, it'll mess up everything. So we put double-sided tape on these big pieces. Make sure you do not iron this until you take this paper off and the double-sided tape is not on your fabric. Did everybody get that? Okay, me back to layering all this fabric out. All right, you have a decision. This is just this is normally how we cut. It's the same that we've been cutting, but you've got a lot of fabric here. So if you don't want to save fabric and you want to take the easier way out, what you can do is just cut the fold line and deal with smaller pieces. And I'll show you what I mean. It's neither here nor there. You can do it the same way that you have been doing it, where you just lay the piece out, cut off the salvage, cut this part, turn everything and layer it and recut it. Or I'm going to cut on the fold because the piece is definitely, see, big enough for your fold. I'm going to cut my fabric on the fold because you had 4 pieces. Now we need 8 pieces. So if we take these, this is in case you don't want to, you're not worried about saving fabric. You're just worried about getting it done. It's easier. It's half, it's just another option to make it a little easier for you. If you don't want to do this, you want to continue doing it the way we have been doing it. For me, having a smaller cut of fabric, especially on this small board, is easier than trying to flip and turn everything. Does that make sense? Now I have 8 layers, so I only have to cut this out once instead of cutting the salvage, flipping and turning it, and cutting again. Make sense? Now I'm going to put my double-sided tape on again. If you're not sure you're going to have enough fabric, then do it the way we did it originally. But if you think you've got more than enough, and like me, you have a small area that you're working in right now, then cut on the fold. Okay. That's my scrap. Cut line 1. Just follow the lines as they've indicated. Cut line 2. I'm going to clip these, oops, and put them in bag 4. Cut line 3. This is scrap. Line 4. How are you guys doing so far after the first set of crazy cuts? You guys still with me? I know it's a lot, but if you just do it one step at a time and stay organized, that's the key. You have to be organized, because if not, especially me with all the different rainbow colors, but even without the rainbow colors, if you're not organized when you're doing one of these quilts, you're going to get frustrated really easily, and it's not worth getting frustrated over. So I don't want you to get frustrated ever. If you have a problem or a question, call me, message me, email me. Cut line 7 and 8. One of the key things I want you to remember, because I don't want you to freak out cutting these fabrics, they're all bigger than you need. When we start piecing, we're going to be cutting these down. So don't freak out. That's why I have all this extra top and bottom. I center my pattern in the center of the strip, but that's it. Any extras I leave on there. Oh, good, Mary. I'm glad I didn't completely confuse you. That's a plus. And I'm very happy that you're not completely confused, because I'll tell you, it's not as hard as it looks. It's just a lot of prep work. It really is. But once you get through all the prep work, then the fun begins. These are going to go together very easily. How are you, Susan? Still with us? Still okay? All right, so all this is going back in bag 4. All right. I broke one of my glasses. I have to go get more cheaters. I broke a pair of my glasses yesterday. I put them up like this, and one of the sides just fell on the floor. What the heck? I don't know. Good, Susan. I'm glad. So now I gotta go, but I'm too cold to go out to the store. But I gotta go buy more cheaters. Okay. Now that we're over that first hump, I'm a lot more confident in you guys. Okay. So basically, That's the B. Okay. All the B we just cut, done. Okay. Now we're going to go to the C units, believe it or not. Except for, I lied. It's not all the B. We still have, unit B2 to cut, but that's going to be different. So I'm going to go on to C. We will get to those, but I'm going to go on to C so that we can keep cutting. All right. So now we are going to be on fabric on page 13, fabric C1, unit C1. Okay. And that is bag 6. Three. Bag 5. All right, bag 6. Now you know why these bags are so important, because they really are going to keep everything together. Okay. Where are we? What am I doing? Let's see. All right. Fabric C1, unit. Hold on. C1. And unit C1. Unit C1 background. Gotta keep myself in order. Right. Here we go. C1, unit C1 background sheet. So we need, you've got 3, this is another case of we have 3 strips, but you only need 8 layers. So we're going to do the first 2 cuts and then get rid of 1 layer and do the last cut. Just like we did in B3 fabric. So I'm just gonna layer my fabrics. My hands are frozen. My hands are frozen. My nose is cold. This is crazy. I heard in February we're gonna have another winter blast too. Like on the week of the 2nd or the 3rd. I hope not, because I'm freezing. So Susan, here is a great example of what we spoke about before. We're getting rid of 1 layer, and I did it differently because I was doing rainbow. So I'm going to cut the salvage here. So I'm going to put my double-sided tape. so I'm going to cut my salvage. Actually, I was supposed to cut on the line and I didn't. Okay. That's your first cut. Gonna cut your salvage off. Then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna cut on this angle. Now we've got 3 layers. 3 layers, yes, 3 layers. We need 8 cuts. This is 3. 8 pieces. Now I'm going to take it all, paper and fabric, and turn it around and line it up with the cut on this side. And making sure you don't move it all over the place. And then I'm going to cut here. Now I've got 2 sets of 3 layers, so I've got 6 cuts, right? We have another 3 layers over here. We only need 2 because we only need 8 cuts. I'm going to take 1 piece off. That becomes scrap or goof or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to take this whole piece. And actually, I find it's easier if I have just go a little slow because now you've got 8 layers. This is scrap. And now I'm going to cut up pieces. Cut line 1. This is why it's really good to make sure you have a nice sharp blade when we start cutting all this stuff. If you don't feel comfortable cutting, just go slow, okay? Oops. Cut line 2. Cut line 3. Cut line 4. Five. And that's it. These are going to go back into our bag 6. All right. Give me a second. I gotta figure out what I do with bag 6. Fine. Bag 6. I gotta get a tote to put all of these in. Makes it much easier. All right. Now we are going to move on to fabric C2 at the bottom of page 13, unit C1-2. Which for me is a rainbow fabric, obviously, on ombre. But for you, it should only be one fabric. You're going to cut 8 pieces like normal, whereas I'm going to do it differently. So normally you would layer your 2 9-inch strips and cut this out 4 times. I believe, yeah, 4 times. I don't think they give you extra of this template, but you would cut it like we've normally been doing. So you're going to layer your two strips of fabric, cut on the selvage, and then cut it 4 times. So you get 8 pieces. Now for me, I'm going to be cutting the template apart again, like I did in B3. And laying them out so that my ombre is correct. Good news for me is that these are all the same, all these sections. So we've got section 1, no, section 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. They're all the same size. So if I mess up on which color goes where, all I gotta do is take the paper off and switch it with a different pile, different color. For you, you're just gonna cut it like you have been doing. I hope me deciding to do an ombre isn't messing you guys up too much or confusing you. I hope not. So you're going to have 2 fabrics. I've got 8 fabrics. I'm only going to cut 1 cut for each piece. You're going to do 4 cuts for each set of templates. And for me, I'm going to cut on the fold because I don't need all the fabric. This is the hardest part for me. Just getting them all lined up. I have a lot of fabric here. There's 8 layers. All right. So I'm just going to cut on the fold because I don't need that much. I'm glad I have all the extra though, because I think I'm going to make mine a king size quilt and I need the fabric for the borders. Okay. So I'm going to cut this apart again, just like I did before. You're not, you're just going to sit there and cut, turn the paper and the fabric all together, do another cut. You're going to have 4 cuts. Just like we have been doing. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to make it difficult for me. So I'm going to go right on my cut lines. Oh, I'm just got to make sure I lay these all in the same direction. And giving myself a good color change. So I got a light, a dark, and some mediums. I'm not going to bother with the double-sided tape because on these long pieces, it's easier just to cut for me. For you, when you've got the initial big piece, it's better. I'm going to clip these, and they're going to go in bag 6. And my scrap. My biggest fear for me, not for you, is making sure I have all of these shades and keep them all together. So when I do go to start piecing, I don't get confused. For you, it's easy because you're just cutting one fabric. Me, I got to do it difficult. All right, my last cut. I'm going to turn this around. Because I got the fold here to deal with. There we go. Another one bites the dust. These are all going back in your bag 6. I got a lot of extra fabric, let me tell you. Doing this ombre, I didn't think I'd have that much, but which is actually going to help me in the long run because now I'm going to use these fabrics in the border. Don't know what I'm going to do with the border yet, but I will. Okay. Now, we need, ooh, sorry. We need fabric C3 unit C2, which I believe is bag 7, I think. But don't hold me to it. This is it. Bag 7, I'm pretty sure. Fabric C3 and unit C2. All right. Anybody have any questions before we keep on going with this cotton? Just because it says background doesn't necessarily mean it's the background fabric. It could be background fabric, but it's actually an accent or accent fabric that isn't background. I know it's confusing. Just go with it. Just cut out exactly what I'm telling you to cut out. Go one step at a time. All right, good. I'm glad. I gotta warm up. I feel like I should be dancing or something. I'm cold. All right. C2. This is no different than the same that we have been doing. Same cutting. You got 4 7-inch strips and you need 8 pieces. You're going to do 2 cuts. I'm in too much of a hurry, so I don't cut the folds. And I mean, I don't iron my fabric. I leave it with the fold, which I think helps because it helps you line up your fabrics one on top of each other correctly. All right. I'm going to put some tape on here, double-sided tape. All right. Cut off the salvage. Cut off this end. Sure these stay together. If you're like me and you haven't ironed your fabric, so you have your fold, there's enough fabric that you can disregard the fold and just go further down, or you're going to turn everything, line it up, and then cut. I'm going to disregard my fold just because I can. Does that make sense? So rather than turn it and put it on the angle that I cut, I'm just going to move it further down so I don't have to deal with this big fold in the fabric. I've got plenty of fabric, and that's what I'm going to do. If you don't understand what I'm doing, let me know. Sure, all of these level layers stay together. I got cut one. And we're putting these back in bag 7. Two. Three. Cut 4. Cut 5. And cut 6. I have to say, I'm very pleased with how easy the directions are. They tell you exactly what to do. It's maybe a little confusing, but once you start and you understand, you get to understand what you're reading. It's actually really simple. And these are all going into bag 7. Ooh. Okay, now the next one is a little confusing, but not much. Okay, we have 2C2s, so but they're cut out of 2 different fabrics. And I think this is bag 8. I think. Bag 8, I believe. Make sure I know what I'm talking about. Oh no, it's bag 7. Not bag 8, bag 7. I just had bag 7. It's still the same bag 7. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, the first one is fabric C4. Fabric C4, which is this black accent. C4, and it's cut C2-9. All right, it's not confusing, just a little confusing. Whereas this one is C2-8, and it says accent. This one says accent 2, but it's C2 template C2-9. Okay, don't get confused. If you put all your fabric and clip them, your pieces with them, unless you made a mistake the first time when you clip them together, you should be fine. Hold on. Let me just make sure I didn't get confused. Because my notes said something different. C5. Yeah. No, I'm right. Okay. My notes were a little bit different, but this one is good. You've got 2 7-inch strips, and we need 8 pieces. So we're going to cut it 4 times. This is what you can do. If you want to save fabric, cut it like we normally have. Okay, we put 1 piece here, cut it, turn and flip. I am just going to cut on the fold, stack my 4 units, and then cut it twice. Again, I don't have a lot of room here, and I have a lot more fabric than I need. You don't want to keep the fold it like we do when we cut it off the bolt, because then you're going to have units that are backwards and they're not cut on the right side of the fabric. So please don't do that. Come on, stay put. All right. I feel because I can't, I'm cold, my hands are cold. I feel like I'm bumbling. So you've got 2 strips. I've cut on the fold and stacked my strips. So I have 4 layers. Then I can cut 1 and cut 2 and have my 8 that I need. Or you can take your 2 strips and cut it once, turn everything, cut it again, turn everything. If you do that, you only need to do 4 cuts. Does it make sense? Cut 1. Oh, actually, I don't want to do that. Almost made a mistake. Almost. Forgot to stack it. Okay. Almost. It's easy to get confused. This is my extra. Now, I'm going to turn it around because I'm following my cut lines. Here's cut 1. And we're going to clip it and put it in bag 7. Cut 2. Cut 3. Cut 4. And cut 5. These are all going back into bag 7. Now, okay. All right. I gotta read my notes again. Told you I made a lot of notes. So now we're at the bottom of page 13, and you're going to be doing fabric C5. Both of these templates look a lot alike. That's why you got to make sure you check the dash, because that's the only way you're going to cut them right. So fabric C5 and unit C2 accent template C2-8. Again, I'm going to be cutting this one apart so that I can get the ombre. You will only have to, you're going to cut it the same way we did the other one. Okay, just like we normally do. Because you've got 2 7-inch strips. Me, I'm only going to cut half of it and stack them and cut all my papers apart. Yay me. I'm a crazy person. I can't believe I did this to myself, but I did. I did not think this would, I just saw the top, what it looked like with all the rainbow fabrics and saw that and said, yes, that's what I want. Not thinking about all the extra work I would have to do. But hey, no pain, no glory. Isn't that what they say? Plus, I'm just crazy. You guys get to watch me do all of the crazy stuff. And then you can decide if you want to join the crazy too. If you want to join the crazy, that's fine. We can all be crazy together. At least you'll know what you're getting into by watching me. I'm telling you, I'm over this cold weather. I feel like I've been living in a sweatshirt. I know people say, well, you turn the heat on. I don't like turning the heat on. I don't know about you guys, but I turn the heat on and I get that the first time every year when you turn it on, you get a terrible smell like somebody burnt food in the kitchen. And it takes forever for that smell to get out. I hate it. So I try to go as long as absolutely necessary without turning the heat on because I hate that smell. You guys tell me, my other locals, have you guys turned the heat on? My husband's looking at me like I got five heads. I said, don't touch the heat. And they were all like, I'm cold. Well, so am I, but you're not touching the heat. It's amazing just living in a different region. Up north, we had the heat on all the time. We didn't have central air up north where I lived. Not at all. So it's completely different down here. If you had central air up north, you were considered hoity-toity rich, and you must have been real rich to have central air in New England. That's what happens when you grow up in a different area. All right. First thing I'm going to do, just so that I get it out of the way, is I'm just going to cut on my fold. I've layered my 8 pieces, but I'm interested, really, I am, if you guys that live locally have put the heat on, because I haven't. I still have not turned my heat on, even with all of this cold. I just tell everybody, get dressed. So I've got my 8 layers. You're only going to have 2. And I'm going to cut my template apart, keeping my sections in the same order. So section 2, section 4, no, 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, and 17. Yeah, because I have so much fabric, if I cut them long when I put them down, it's okay, because I got enough fabric. I can either change the papers on the different stacks, because these are all the same shape, or I can recut them. For you, you're just going to keep cutting like we normally have. Ooh, Mary, I don't put the heat on. I just don't. I hate that smell. Everybody in their room I'd rather use an electric space heater than turn the heat on, because I hate that smell. It just smells like burnt food. It's not nice. Nope, I had to turn my heat on. Not once. I know I'm nuts, but that's just me. I'm nuts. I'm torturing my family. I tell them, get dressed. Because I ain't turning the heat on. I'm a bad mama. What can I say? Funny thing is when we were in the shop, I had to turn the heat on for customers. I turned it on more regularly than I do now. So at the house, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. I have my templates cut apart. You will not be doing this, but I am because I'm doing an ombre and I'm a dingling. So I am doing the light to dark, and I'm trying to remember if this is where I need to be. Hold on. Actually, I think mine are backwards. So I think it's got to go this way. I think I want my section 17 to be the lightest. All right, and how did I figure that out? Well, let me show you. Here it is. All right. These are the fabrics that are going in here. So all I did was look at my sections and figure out where it is on the pattern, so that I'm trying to keep my ombres going, because I have a light background, so I want them light to dark so that the background fabric shows the darkest parts. So I'm looking here. Okay, what I'm cutting first is section 2, which is right here. Section 2, C8, and here's section 3 on C29. Oh, a heated vest. That sounds like something good. The worst part about it, Susan, is it's not, this is unusual. I mean, extremely unusual to be, I think this is going on for a month. So it's not normally that cold for that long. So normally it's not a big deal. I can usually get through it a couple of days, but it's been very cold. So that's why I figured this out. That's how I figured out whether to start with section 2 as the darkest and section 17 is my lightest. And now I'm just going to cut them and clip them and put them in bag 7. Yeah, it's never been this cold. I can't remember. I mean, I know people say that, but I don't remember it being more than, yeah, that's the thing too, Mary. I'm in a concrete cement block house, and now right now I'm in the garage, which is always warmer in the summer and colder when it's winter. But I really can't remember. I think the first few years I was here, it was like a couple of days of cold weather, and I just sat there and looked at all the crazy people running around in winter coats, and I'm in capris. Now, after 12 years, I think. Yeah, 12 years. No, yeah, 12 years. I'm the opposite. I'm that person that's looking for my coat. But it's been long. I mean, it's been a month. And now they say we're going to have another cold or freeze or whatever in early February, like the 2nd, the 3rd, something in there. Did I explain enough on why I'm doing it this way, just so you guys understand it and it's not confusing you for what you're gonna cut, right? Because you're not gonna cut these apart if you're just doing your a non-rainbow quilt. I mean, even a rainbow quilt wouldn't be that bad, but because I'm doing an ombre, I have to be specific on where I put my templates and where I cut my fabric. If I'm wrong, I'm okay because I got enough fabric that I can cut more. Keep doing that, grabbing the wrong piece, wrong rotary cutter. Now, we're gonna need fabric marker. We're gonna mark our fabric in certain places. When you're trying to put curves together between the glue and marking your, what is it called? Um, oh my goodness, I'm tongue-tied. They're called RP lines, and I'll show you where they are. You're going to use those RP lines to line up your curved piecing. So you're going to want fabric marking pens that will work with your fabric color. So, for instance, my background fabric is white. I'm going to use a blue fabric marking pen. If you've got a dark black fabric on your background, then you might want to use a chalk white marking pen. Make sense? Got it. These are all going back into bag 7. These are my extras in case I make a mistake or to use with my border. I think this is my bag 7. I think. Where is it? There it is. Bag 7. Okay. So did you understand what I meant by marking? When we get to the B2 units, I'll show you what I mean, because we will be doing some of that today. I'll show you. Just make sure you have the right marking pen for your color fabric. Now we are going to go over to do some more D fabric on page 16. So we're page 16. We're fabric D1 and unit D in bag 8. Oh, bag 8. Where's my bag? Bag 8. Bag 2. Where's my bag 8? Bag 8. D. We're getting through these pretty fast. Do you think you've got it enough that this isn't too fast for you? Because when I started looking at what we needed to cut, I didn't think this was going to be that bad, this part. So if we can get through all of these cuts, then we can start actually sewing next week. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is fabric D1 and unit D accent. For me, it's a background fabric, so we're not going to do anything different. Oh, there is a difference. We need 16 pieces Okay. Remember I told you this is one of those times where they gave you extra templates. So they gave you 4. I'm only going to use, I think, 3 templates. And we have 6 strips that are 5 inches long, but we only need 16 cuts. So if we do 2 cuts, 5 and 5, that's 10. Okay, something, my brain is getting fried. I can tell when I'm getting tired. Hold on. Let me think. We've got 5 cuts. We only need 16 pieces. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Okay, watch. Watch, learn. Sometimes my notes are good. Other times I sit there and scratch my head and go, what the heck am I doing? Okay. Let me line up all this fabric. And it's easier. Like I told you, Susan, it's easier to just do it one step at a time and try not to overthink. All right. I got to figure out what's the next quilts I'm going to be working on for class. I'm trying to videotape my beginner's quilt. I've taught that same quilt for so many years that it comes naturally to me, but for some reason when I'm trying to videotape it, I can teach anybody how to do the quilt. But when I'm videotaping it, I keep getting tongue-tied, which is not fun. Not even a little fun. I have probably a dozen videos to edit. We have 6. Do we have? Oh, yes, we have 6. See, I told you I was overthinking. So we have 6 pieces and we need 16 cuts. So the first 2 cuts will give you 12. You only need 4 of the other strips. So 2 layers we're going to get rid of. 2 layers of the 3rd cut. That's why I'm using 3 templates, but I'm going to show you how I want you to layer them, because I want you to layer them. We've got an 8-pointed star that we're basically, or 8 petals. So I want you to layer them so you get 8 cuts. So when you clip them, it'll be easier for you when you're piecing. Does that make sense? I saw the 5 inches and thought we had 5, and I'm like, yeah, you're right though. Thank you, Mary. We have 6 pieces, 6 strips. Okay. This. Everything we've done so far has been in counts of 8. That's why I want to show you how to cut this specific one, because it's, it's 16. And this way it'll make it easier if you keep it in layers of 8. So this first one, here we go. I'm going to cut off my salvage. And I'm going to cut this side off. So that's one set of 6. Now I'm going to leave that one just like that. And I'm going to put tape on a second template. Remember, we've got 4, so you can hold on to one just as a what if. Some of the patterns do have pieces that are the same. You know, some of her other patterns, or so you can save it. Definitely do not get rid of anything until you're done with the quilt. Now, this one, I'm going to line it up. I'm going to cut here. Now, I have 2 6 layers, right? I'm going to take my final piece of fabric and the third template. And we only need 16. So we got 6 and 6 is 12. We only need 4 more. So we have 6 here, and I'm gonna take 2 off. So now I have 4 layers, right? And my third unit. I'm not gonna tape it. You can tape it if you want, but for a quick cut, I'm not going to. Where did my ruler go now? Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's 4 here, 6 and 6. So now I'm going to take this one and put it over there. I just needed it for my base cut. And I'm going to take my two layers and put them under one of my 6 layer cuts. And put my other 2 layers under my other 6 layer cut. Now, when we cut these, you're going to have 8 in each layer. And when you clip them, it'll help you when we start piecing these. Does that make sense so far? Cut line 1. And clip. Oh, I forgot to cut the end. So does that make sense, everybody? What I did? Two. 3. Cut 4. All right, does it make sense what I did? Yes? No? Maybe? Or did I lose you? Rereading Miss Susan. That's a good thing. I've had to read it a few times myself. Part of this is just practical. And when you actually start sewing it together, you'll be happy that you did it the way I told you to. Trust me. What about you, Mary? Are you good with what I did? Understand why I did it? Well, you may not understand it until we get to that section, but having 8 layers is a good thing. All right, this is all going back into a bag 8. Okay, good. I'm glad. Unfortunately, this is going to be one of those quilts that are do as I say, not as I do. It'll make more sense once we start sewing, but I just want to set you guys up for the best options. Okay. Now the next part, I have a rainbow quilt. So the next one is fabric D2 and unit D. Fabric D2, unit. Hold on, I want to make sure I have the right one. Yeah, D1-2. So it's fabric D2 and unit templates D1-2. I had to really write myself some notes. So non-rainbow, you're going to be using 6 strips. You only need 16. You're going to be doing the same thing. 8 layers. You only need 2 templates. Okay. Do it the same way that we did the other one. For me, I'm going to keep my shading in order. So I got to do 8 layers, 1 cut. No, 2 cuts. 2 cuts. Sorry. So I'm going to use 2 of these templates. You're going to use, you can use 2 or use 3 like I showed you in just the last cut and save one. I'm using 2 and I have 8 layers. So I've got a layer on mine and I'm going to do 2 cuts for 16. Susan, Susan, did the rereading help you understand a little bit? You can, you've got 4 templates, okay? So if you wanted to cut less fabric and do more cuts, use your templates and use them all. So instead of doing 6 layers, you can do 3 layers. Just because I'm telling you, you only need a couple of templates or 3 templates, use them all if you feel more comfortable. I will tell you that all of the templates are bigger than we actually need. So you got a little wiggle room for cutting. They don't have to be precise. I think I need a haircut. But lately, I don't even want to leave the house. It's too cold out, especially when it's windy. I just don't want to go. I wish I could stay in bed for like a week and just have somebody serve me at my meals in bed. You know, just because I get under, I say that, but I probably could never do it. Not in a million years. I'm one of those people that can't even take a day off and sit in bed all day unless I'm sick, dying. I don't know what it means to sit still, but it's a pretty dream. Have somebody weigh on you, especially when it's cold out. You can stay in the nice warm bed. All right, mine are all together. All right, I have 8 layers. Um, 8 layers, 16 pieces. I'm gonna cut it twice. You have 6 layers. You're gonna cut it twice, just like we did before. And then on the last lay cut, you're going to take two layers off so that you'll have your 16. Put them together just like I did before, so you clip 8 together. Make sense? Same exact thing we just did. These are all the same. There's no sections. So I'm just going to lay them down and go with it. I went through a whole roll of double-sided tape. I'm glad I got a stack of 3, although we're almost done cutting all the fabric. So I'm just going to cut one stack because we need 16 pieces and I've got 8 there. Now I'm going to move it over my ombre, and I'm try not to worry about my fabric fold. And put my tape on. I'm glad I didn't order just one of these rolls of tape. That would have been bad. Come on. All right, while I'm laying this out, you guys have any other questions so far? This is my scrap. I'm going to cut line 1. And I have 8 layers. You'll have 6 and 6, and then you're going to grab 4 from the final cut of fabric. No questions yet? Three. Four. I'm going to be late for my other class, but that's okay. Nobody watches that one yet. So I'll have to record it after this one. 5. Six. And 7. All right, give me a second. Let me just write a quick post to let everybody know that the symphony class is going to be a little bit late. Oh, it might not work. Hold on. Didn't realize what time it was. Almost done cutting all of our fabric. All right. That's all going into bag 8. I'm putting my template pieces in the same bag just in case I need them. The extras. Now we go on to let's see. All right. Now I think the only thing we have left are our T templates. Okay. All right, the T template pieces are for your border or lack thereof. Okay. Let me show you this. Not disregarding this border. That's not the border I'm talking about. I'm talking about this border. Okay. Which most of you are going to want to what we call float. So you don't want other border pieces in here to distract from the center of the quilt. Does that make sense? So you want to do E and F exactly, Mary. All right, well, now you'll know what you need to cut. E and F, which are 4 14-inch strips, which we are going to cut to float our border, meaning we're not going to have a different fabric out here to distract. You'll have one full fabric, one background fabric, and that's it. Make sense? And what we're going to do is we want to do E1. Whoops, sorry. We want to do E1 and F3 for floating. This is a little bit too confusing for you guys. I don't think we're going to go there. So we're just going to go over here. And you're going to have 4 strips, and we're going to put them 2 together, right sides up. Does that make sense? Oh, your background fabric, Susan? You just ordered your background fabric from me this morning? Is that what you're saying? Oh, well, I won't get that in the mail until Monday, Tuesday. Just because I got a lot going on and I have to go and pick it up. All right. You need 4 of each one of these templates, 4 cuts. Because you got to think of, here, I'll show you why we need 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these corners are going to be in, and a little bit of side piece are going to be cut into multiple small pieces because you need 1 piece for here, 1 piece for here, 1 piece for your corner. But you still need 4 of each of them because we're going to do 4 sections of the background. Does that make sense? So we've got, and you're going to layer them. If you do it the way I tell you to make it easier on yourself so it's less confusing, we're going to layer 2 pieces together. And what I love is they have pictures to tell you exactly what to cut where. It's easy. It really is. If you read it and go take it one step at a time, this is really not that hard at all. All right, so I'm going to lay out my first 2 fabrics. All right. And I highly recommend you using your double stick-sided tape. It's going to make life much easier on you. So this is 2 layers. My salvage is up here. So the first one I want is F11. You should have 2 F11 templates. I think. F11. Maybe not. No, I guess not. All right. So we only have one F11. I thought we had two. I would still cut it the way they say. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut this one out and put it aside. And then when you cut the other two layers, then you're going to cut another one of this, just like it says. See, F11, F11. Then we, on the first sheet that I've got working on right now, we're going to do FL9. Maybe I'm wrong and we don't need 4, but I thought we did. This might be, most of these pieces we need 4. Some of these background pieces you don't need 4 because, oh yeah, here they are. FL9, you do. Never mind. Let's see, did they give you 2 FL9s? There's one FL9, FL12. No, they didn't. So we're gonna have to cut this out a little bit slower. All right. Then we did all the other stuff. So how do they want me to put this way? Just follow the pictures and you're going to cut right on this outside line. Remember I told you we're going to mark the fabric and you need a marking pen. Here's the RP marks. Is that, you see that? That's so that when you're going to line the curve up, you have that marking on the fabric and you can start with that as your first point to align everything. All right, what I would suggest is I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back of this one, which is my first one. All right, now, how did they tell me to do this? Boop, boop. Like this. You're going to want to cut on this outside line. And you want to make sure that you cut any of your, what they call smart corners. So where it's this little corner here that's been cut. Easiest way to do this for me personally, it's just like when you cut the papers out, is with my small ruler and no pins. And just go slow. Now where's my rotary cutter? Oh, come on. What did I do with my rotary cutter? There it is. Okay. So. Just like we did with the papers, it's only 2 layers. And we're cutting right on the line. If you want to do it with a scissor, go ahead. But I found that, or you could do it 1 layer at a time and cut it 4 times. That's up to you. I found once I learned how to do it with the ruler on the papers, it really wasn't that difficult to do. If you want to do just 1 layer at a time, that's fine. You're going to have to do it 4 times, 4 cuts. When you're turning your fabric, just go slow so you don't get them all misaligned. It's only 2 layers, so it's usually pretty easy, but just go slow. That's my first piece. I'm going to put this aside when I have my second layer, 2 layers, so I can cut 2 more. I'm going to cut this extra off so it's out of the way. Now we have the FL9. Which will be this way. And I'm going to do the same thing. Put my tape on, especially on these weird cuts. I'm not a clothing sewer, so this for me is super weird. Patterns for clothing is kind of on the same idea. So if you've done clothing, this might be a lot easier for you than you think. So just as the picture on page 19 says, that's how I'm going to cut it. So this is the first cut. Which is a nice straight cut. All right. I switch back and forth between my long ruler for the straight ends and my short ruler for the curves. Oops. Nola hears people. My house is starting to move around. And if you don't get close enough the first time, like I didn't here, let's go back. I think Nola needs to go out. Okay. I think Nola's need to go out. I'm going to cut this one out, show you how to put the next piece on, but then I think I'm going to call it quits. I'll go over the rest of it next week. Are you okay with that? Only because it's been a very long class and Nola is starting to freak out. I don't know how much quieter she's going to be. Do you have any questions on how I'm telling you to cut these fabrics? Keep them all lined up because you're cutting right on the line. So you don't want to undercut. You need these as big as they are, the right size. So if you're moving it around like me, just make sure you put them lined up on top of each other correctly again. And having a nice sharp blade is going to make this so much easier. Okay. Just go slow. I want to make sure my layers are all together. Yep, Miss Nola is awake and she is not gonna be quiet for nobody. There we go. Now, we just cut this F1, FL9. This is that part, right, piece right there. So all we're going to do is turn it around. Get rid of all the extra paper. And the FL9, make sure your layers are all on top of each other. It's going to go right here. If you have to, just take the paper, the fabric off and use the paper because it'll probably be a little bit easier for you to cut. You should be, if you put the tape on there, enough tape that it's still going to be sticky. So I'm just making sure my layers are together. My fabric layers are nice. This one is here. And then FL10 will be right here. You have plenty of fabric to do what you got to do, okay? It's just a matter of going slow and making sure you cut your pieces big enough. Okay. And then we're just going to cut this one again, this one, and then you're going to layer your other two because you've got 4 strips. So then you'll layer your other 2 and grab the FL11 that we already did, the paper, and put that on as your first cut. And then you're going to use FL10 again, and you're going to do 2 cuts. So you'll have 4 layers of the FL12 and mark your fabric lines, your RP lines on your fabric. So that's going to be, I got an RP line here, I got an RP line here, RP line here. So just mark on your fabric, put a mark. Now, that being said, we live in Florida, which is normally very hot. Okay. So word of warning, if you use heat eraser marking pens, they may not be there when you're ready to sew, which is fine. I'm just giving you a heads up. What I would do is just, if you don't want to mark them, then don't mark them. Wait, just keep the paper attached. Do not iron these if you're going to have the paper with the tape attached, and mark them when we're ready to sew them at the end. We're not going to be using these until the end when we've sewed the whole center, piece the whole center together. All right. If you guys have any questions at all, when you get to rewatch this and start cutting, just contact me. Don't go getting freak out. Don't get frustrated because I don't want that. It's not difficult. Just take it one step at a time. Okay. We only have a couple more things to cut, so we'll do that at the first class next week, and then be prepared with your glue pens because we are gonna start stacking and sewing. All right, that's it. Now I gotta let Nola out before she does the pee pee. She's over there doing the pee pee dance by the door. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I hope it warms up really soon. Tuesday, maybe. Bye. Let me know if you need me. You know where I am. Have a great day, everybody. Have a nice rest of your weekend, too. See ya.